just don't get it, so he gets to pit ahead of me, and they give his car the only new power unit last season, and he gets to go out behind me in qualifying. This kid is the new #1 driver.
Formula 1, FIFA, MotoGP, Pro Evolution Soccer, World Rally Championship, and I can continue with a lot of examples of sport video games. What do these games have in common? Simple, they are released every year. So what's the issue? There aren't great technological progress in video games in just 1 year. I mean, yeah, there are, but not so big to make games so different compared to the ones of the previous year. So what happens? Some fans of the series get angry or frustrated because they think they play exactly the same game they played the previous year, except for the themes and rules changes of the real counterparts. But let's try to be logic, guys. Do you really expect huge improvements in just 1 year of development considering the technological progress? Moreover, if we talk about graphics, we can't pretend a lot from your console hardware, which will be the same for the next 5-6 years. It's a common practice, which isn't new, and we are getting used to, despite the polemics. Moreover, if a video game, which is great already, doesn't change a lot in 1 year, you can't blame the developer for being lazy or the fact they just want to have easy money from it. It's simply a lack of technology progress in just 1 year. So, why all this disclaimer? Because I'm an honest guy, which is aware of the issues and the problem which afflicts the sports video game thanks to your comments and your opinion. And in this review, as always, I try to be honest with you and tell you what I think about Formula 1 2021. I'll try to tell you if it's a good game or if it's a bad one, if it's a fuel simulation or a sim arcade, and of course if it's worth your money. Ready? Tires model Formula 1 games of the last 10 years have been a center for great debate. Is it realistic? Or is it more arcadish? Obviously I never drove a Formula 1 car before, so I can tell you how a real Formula 1 car handles the road. But I can take other simulations which allow me to do some precise comparisons. And in this case I can tell you Formula 1 2021 is like Formula 1 2020. Cars are grippy, but sometimes when they lose the rear, it's very easy to recover. The way how cars lose grip appears a bit simplified, like you don't feel the full rubber of your tire rubbing the road surface. Not a limit of skills of the developers, of course, but it's a pure choice of game design to make this game more accessible to a larger portion of gamers and sim racers, which is positive because it makes this game controller friendly for people who can't afford a steering wheel. Anyway, it doesn't mean Formula 1 2021 is an easy game. Try turning off all driving assist and you'll see what I mean. Like the previous chapter, Formula 1 2021 featured the tire temperature and pressure, which have a great impact on the grip. Same for tire deformation, which is visually very well made, especially when you get a tire puncture. The tire's differentiation is very important in the real Formula 1, and here we find a good example of it. Between hard and soft, passing by intermediate and full wet, it's a real challenge for the player to choose the best compound for the race. we find the same good system we found in Formula 1 2020. Visually the deformation is good, and also the effect on the drive are fine. The car responds well and as expected, with oversteer to stiffer suspension on the rear, and with understeer with stiffer suspension dampers on the front. So, in this case, be sure Formula 1 2021 won't disappoint you. We can't ask more to a Formula 1 game. Cars act very well to the gravity, and this is noticeable especially when you jump over high curbs. Takes off and landings are okay, and not so violent like those you find on project cars. The weather is great as well, and if you forget to check it before the races, it will be unpredictable thanks to its transition during the race. Same for track and air temperature, as you can see they are both present and they play an important role on the engine reliability and tires wear and grip. Talking about surface physics, yeah, it gradually changes when it starts or stops raining. I would like different dry surface grip options, like Assetto Corsa, but I think I'm asking too much now. Slipstream is good, and in my opinion slightly better than Formula 1 2020. But the absence in all its form is still the same every year: the wind. Too bad, because light cars like Formula 1 are affected a lot by it. And the force feedback? It's a good force feedback, which do its job pretty well at giving you information on your hands to see what's happening on your front wheels. But I highly suggest you to change immediately the default settings, which are terrible. Bumps are too filtered. I mean, let's remember you're driving a Formula 1 car, not a comfortable Mercedes S-Class, if you see what I mean. So, to feel better the road like a proper race car steering wheel, I suggest you to open the force feedback settings, which have a good amount of element to customize, and increase all the value as they did. In this way, Formula 1 2021 can impress you, and it can get closer even to the best simulation out on the market. We start talking about deformation. Visually is present thanks to the vibration of the curbs and the road. But when you crash, cars just lose pieces. There aren't structural deformation. At least mechanical damages are realistic and very well implemented for tires, engine, and several other mechanical parts of the car. For example, during the story mode I had a transmission failure. My car jumped directly from the 6th to the 8th gear.
Right, we've looked at the gearbox issue, but I'm afraid there's nothing we can do. Try and drive around it, we'll just have to hope for the best. Remember that you have a lot of torque in these power units, so you should be able to stay in higher gears for a lot of the lap.
The weight transfer, of course, is very low on Formula 1 cars, due to the lightness, stiff suspension and low center of gravity. But while doing zigzag, you can feel it, the car doesn't change direction instantly. setup customization is decent, and it has great influence on the car behavior, but we are far away from the levels we see on Project Car 2. As you can see from the effect of the DRS and downforce, the aerodynamics are on point as well on this game.
There's 3 laps of fuel remaining.
Same for the engine and brakes temperature, which you have to check sometimes during the races to see if everything is under control. For the pit stop you can choose the assisted option or the manual option, which allows you to manually put the speed limiter before the pit lane and drive on it. Animations are very nice. Of course, like the previous game, also Formula 1 2021 features the DRS, the ARS and the possibility to change the brake vias and the differential while driving. The great radio engineer you had in Formula 1 2020 is still there, and it's the best one you can find in racing games in terms of amount of infos it tells you and the fact you can interact with him while racing.
Okay, our main competitors in this race are Perez and Ricciardo. Fourth position, you're in 4th position. Hamilton ahead, Perez is behind you, pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now, 5 laps till the end. There's 5 laps of fuel remaining.
To conclude the immersion, this game gives you the possibility to play the story mode The Breaking Point, which you can watch my previous Formula 1 2021 video in my channel. But if you don't like the Hollywood drama, you can still go for a classic career mode, which you can share with another player in multiplayer mode. The only thing I really don't understand about Formula 1 2021 is they removed all the old Formula 1 cars you could drive in Formula 1 2020. I mean, I like them, and they could be used in Breaking Point story mode, like a sort of flashback. The only positive thing is, if you own Formula 1 2020 already, the game gives you a sort of gift, but it isn't too much if you ask me. Formula 1 2021 continues the optimization process of Formula 1 games year by year. Of course, if you compare Formula 1 2020, the updates are minimal on both technical and graphical parts, because as I told in the beginning of the video, there is just 1 year of technological progress between the two games. But if you compare the 2021 version with the 2016 or 15 versions, you can really feel the difference. It's a proof Formula 1 games have a slow but constant progress through the years, and you guys, you can't deny that in every way. At this point you want to know if this game worth your money. My answer is yes, if you play Formula 1 for the very first time. You play Formula 1 for the first time after some years without playing it. You're a sim racer who loves Formula 1 and follow every Formula 1 GP. You're a competitive sim racer who wants to participate to esports events. Otherwise, my answer is no, if you have Formula 1 2020 already but you haven't played a lot. You're a sim racer who comes from official and semi-official esports liga on iRacing, Assetto Corsa, etc. You're searching for a full hardcore simulation in terms of physics. Formula 1 2021 is a sim arcade game which offers a very good dose of simulation, but is still open to a large variety of people thanks to the great customization of the difficulty level. It's a high quality product without doubt. But to the people who love Formula 1 but think it doesn't worth buying it if you have a Formula 1 2020 already, because both are too similar, I simply answer: the real Formula 1 didn't change a lot between 2014 and 2020, not only in terms of rules, but also in terms of competitiveness of the top teams, right? And despite that, many people pay and still pay a subscription to watch all GP of the year on TV in several countries of the world. And why do they pay that subscription if Formula 1 haven't changed during the last years? Simply because these people love watching Formula 1. It's the same for the game. If you really love Formula 1, well, you know what to do. As always, I'm honest with you, and I don't deny this video has been possible thanks to EA, who sent me a copy. But despite that, I hope you appreciated my unbiased opinion about it. Thanks for watching, and see you on my next video!